Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Today is August 8th, and this is another of our bi-weekly SIG Apps calls. My name is Pache, and I'll be your host today. Announcements, I didn't put any, but basically we're roughly a day before the test freeze. So if you have any particular test PRs that you want to merge into Cube 125, I'll make sure to get them tagged and merged by tomorrow, and I'll put the links into the exact date because depending on where you're located, it is either halfway through afternoon or halfway through the night from tomorrow on to the Wednesday. Uh, Ken, Janet, is there anything else that we want to add with the announcements?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
I have
Okay,
one.
so yeah, go ahead.
Today is the deadline for the co-located events submission to KubeCon North America. We have a batch day event. Today is the deadline for submitting proposals. If your talk was not accepted to the main event related to batch, please feel free to submit to this Colo events. Deadline is today, midnight PST.
Cool. Thanks, Abdullah. Okay, with that, we can jump over to the main topics. Alda, Abdullah.
Yes. I wanted to bring this discussion to the table. As you know, we worked on job tracking with finalizers. I think it's 4 releases now since we first did the alpha. Uh, but as you also might know, we had some pitfalls there. We discovered bugs in 123, 124 iteration. So we disabled the feature in 124, and it's now enabled back for the 125 release. Um, so because of that, I wanted to ask if if you find that it would be good to graduate to GA on 126. And the motivation here to graduate to GA is to remove the legacy code that is making very hard to maintain the job controller, because every time we have to add a new feature, we have to maintain 2 paths. Given the history of failures that I think I'm confident saying that we have we've every time we've found more and more narrow um, or obscure bugs. So I think the confidence is now higher that the job tracking with analyzers is let's say production ready. So that's the question I'm bringing to the table, whether we can graduate to GA in 126, and basically also at the same time kind of propose a feature freeze in the job controller for 126. So we just focus on cleanup and graduate. We would only do graduations of any feature that is already in the pipeline, but we wouldn't introduce any new alphas. So that's the proposal that we're bringing, Abdullah and I. So I wanted to hear your thoughts.
Does anyone have any opinions, objections?
I guess one thing to clarify here is that what Aldo's proposing is to remove the code that we've been reverting to every time we had these, like, bugs until they were fixed. But we're getting to the point where it's just bug fixes like any other controller. It's not that the premise and um, the algorithm itself, there's something wrong with it. It's just we're discovering sometimes new really weird edge cases, but they're getting fixed. And so now things are getting harder and harder to do with all the maintenance that we're doing with the other code. So yeah, so that's what at least we're proposing to do in 126.
I can personally add that I can support it. I don't have any personal objections. That particular code where we were tracking the jobs with leaving the pods around has been an issue since basically the inception of the job controller, and we were aware of it. Big thanks for Aldo and Abdullah for pushing this particular feature through and improving the job controller. Um, I've been pulling for reviews every single time that functionality was going haywire. So I'm fully aware about the challenges with uh, all the fixes. But I'm curious if anyone else have any options.
Well, my only question is, do we turn it on by default again in 125? Because we turned it off by default in 124. Right?
Yes, it's back in 125.
So it's been on by default 125. Yeah, I don't see any reason. Like, it is the default behavior that we want. And then if we didn't find a need to roll it back again, I think rolling it forward to the general availability status is the right thing to do for the community.
Yeah, assuming we don't have any major problems that will pop up in 125, I'm definitely in favor of GN in 126.
Yep. And any thoughts on the, let's say, feature freeze? Is that something reasonable, or does anyone have very pressing need they want to push in 126?
That also sounds reasonable. Focusing or closing that particular controller for a little bit to ensure the stability and improve the overall quality of the code and the readability, especially after we remove the double paths with the job tracking with finalizers. That will be definitely uh, the best path forward. From our end, I don't plan any additional to the job controller other than just fixes.
Excellent. I think that will be it for this topic.
Okay, thank you very much. Um, Maybe not necessarily the graduation of the job tracking with finalizers, but sending an email about freezing the job controller for 126 would be a good to send out to the SIG Apps mailing list so that the people who are not necessarily attending today's meeting can also be aware that this is a thing that we will be enforcing in 126. So can you send out an email, Aldo?
Yes, for sure, I can send that.
Cool, awesome, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to the next topic? Okay, I don't see Ryan on the call. Do we have anyone who would be replacing Ryan? I can probably speak up. Ryan has been on our previous calls a couple of times in the past. He's been usually reaching out to us to either report the progress of this apps endpoints and their coverage. With recent PRs that we merged, I think a week or 2 weeks ago, um, we reach 100% test coverage for all of the apps endpoints, which is one of the goals uh, that Ryan and his group is going after. So that's pretty cool that we have this. Okay, so the last topic, uh, I'll try to pronounce your name correctly. Fernswar. I I hope I did it close enough. Uh,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hello, Mancha. Hello. So I was absent for a pretty long time. I was caught up with some work. I also texted you in Slack about that. I'm just here to just lay out the expectations, like what you are supposed to do in the group mentoring thing, and when it's gonna start, and how's the frequency gonna be. So since you know the group mentoring cohort for the CLI thing has already been kicked off. So I was thinking that maybe we can also start with this next week, if it's possible.
Yeah, I think it's doable. I should be around.
Yeah, because Paris isn't there. She's out on a medical leave till 15th. So maybe I was thinking that 8th would kick off today only, but today would be very fast, I guess. So
Yeah,
let's
it'll
give
be
it some time.
pretty short time notice. Yeah, I was complaining to, I can't remember his name, um, Trava, because he
Atharva,
sent out the invitations on Wednesday
right?
morning for Wednesday afternoon. So yeah, definitely next Monday should be enough.
Yep.
And probably we would pick a time slot after the SIG apps. If I remember correctly, that's something similar to what we did for 6 CLI as well.
CLI, correct. So we're going for after it. Let me just update it in this thing.
Um,
Uh,
yeah, and
And
we'll probably add also the information to the HackMD, which I see already linked in the agenda,
yes,
and all the
so
people that sign up should get invites.
yes, exactly. And as you know, so since we're starting on the August of 15, that will basically cover the rules of engagement to people, like the mentors and the mentees will have a face-to-face interaction, like they will know what they are expected to do, like being a reviewer, how to land in the owner's file, and all that expectations of climbing up the ladder in the contribution thing. So that is on the kickoff basically. Uh, and another thing is we're gonna do a bi-weekly meeting, right?
Correct.
Correct.
I
So
think
we're
that's
gonna do it.
sufficient. Eventually, we can always change it as if people will be interested in to have it more or less frequently, and depending on the mentors availability.
Perfect. Perfect. So it's gonna be a bi-weekly meeting on Mondays, and on every Monday there will be a Slack stand-up, and the mentors are expected to be there and help out. But it's not a teacher and student thing; it's a mentoring thing. So uh, they're gonna just help with some resources, some videos, and stuff like that. But if it should not be pretty hectic on you. It should be light on you. That's the expectation out of this program. And so if you are feeling burdened or any kind of thing like that, we request you to just DM Paris or let any of the coordinators like me or Atharva know about this thing. And another thing would be like in the HackMD schedule itself, we have mentioned there are other things like we have there are other cohorts of this mentoring thing which has been done earlier, and the process we are expecting is we're gonna do some release cards and like cherry picking in a deep dive and how things are done in a structured manner and all that stuff. So this is that, and other thing that Paris mentioned in the CLI meeting, which is I think is pretty important, that mentors need to assign topics to themselves, and they're gonna be two things. It's one is if you can do a sub project deep dive, or they're gonna be a review deep dive. And what you mean by review deep dive is a mentor is gonna go through his or her review queue and talk it out loud, like how he or she is gonna solve it, and basically all the processes they're gonna do while going through one of such reviews. So the mentees, since they're gonna be reviewers, so they're gonna know what they're expected to do. So that is one thing. And another thing would be the sub-project topics. I want to know like which sub-project topics for the SIG apps are we gonna choose?
Oh, we're gonna focus just on the controllers. I think I put it in the HackMD as well already. We're
By
considering others. Yeah, but just the package controllers subdirectory in the Kubernetes. We're not
there are
talking about any of the sub projects.
uh, as per I saw in the GitHub, there was application examples, execution hook, compose, and workloads API.
Yeah,
Can
but we wanna focus just on the main Kubernetes repository. For this particular group, we don't wanna touch any of the sub projects.
okay, so I'll just mention controllers, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I talked about the time commitments, and since this is basically a 3-month process, so uh, like from being a contributor to a reviewer, since like most of the participants or the mentees, they have self-selected themselves to be in this process, and we are not sure about their qualification in SIG apps or their experience in doing stuff in SIG apps. So this is we don't have any expectation out of them that any of them are gonna land in a owner's file. But uh, the aim of this program is that at least 50% go into that, but nothing is guaranteed out of this. So this is basically an accelerated process, and we would like mentors to be available on all the days, but it's okay to, like it shouldn't be a burden on you, as I just said. Yeah. And also, if someone out here in the meeting is willing to help in this process, like you have enough experience and you want to help these mentees in the process of becoming a reviewer, you are very, very welcome to the process. Please let us know and we will sign you up in the we have a private Slack, and we can let you in and you can help us in the process too. So I wanted to say, and there is one such question that what if the mentees are very, very lost? Yeah, so like it's gonna happen, like since most of them self-selected themselves, so we are not expecting any kind of experience out of them. So your job is to be a mentor and not a teacher, and you can just provide reading materials, references, any issues, so they can invest their time learning 20-30 hours, they can invest their time learning, but you are not supposed to be guiding them through each and everything there, and making them learn that thing. You can just help them out there. And all of this thing we're going to discuss in the kickoff and lay it out properly. That's all
Cool.
from my side.
Yeah, thanks very much. Does anyone have any particular questions for Inspire? Or
Yeah, I have one
eventually?
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey guys, so my name is Nick Morales. This is my first time here, so I just got the invitation. So I just want to ask about this particular topic. So to make the process more efficient, does the participants have to um, make sure that they already see, for example, the presentation that Maciej shared, and any other documentation that we should cover and prepare ourselves in order to make the whole process efficient.
Yeah, I'll be
Uh,
putting together all the information in that Hackathon as we go. All the information that I can have before the next kickoff, I'll make sure that it is linked there. And as we will be going, I'll be sharing all the additional information if I'll find
Mhm.
something that I just missed before.
Super cool, thanks. And one more is, do we have to start working on an issue like a good first issue thing, or we should wait until all the whole process unveil and then we can start working on something?
Either is perfectly fine. Either is perfectly fine.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, guys.
and also much I see in the HackMD thing, the cube for the CLI cohort, they have very much laid out the whole thing like for some days at least a month. So maybe it can be good if you can suggest
Yeah, I'll
you
be
are supposed to.
yeah, I'll be working on it so that we have some rough overview for
Yeah,
the next kickoff.
sure,
Cool. Thank you very much.
sure. Thank you very much.
Does anyone else have any other topics that they want to discuss with the group? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much, all folks, and see you next time. Bye,
Bye,
all.
guys.